Welcome, everyone. I'm Lalitha Varahi. I am a Pillai Center teacher, if you're new, and a Vedic astrologer at AstroVed. And I'm very excited today because it's a very special time to be alive, a very exciting time to be following the divine teachings that have been given to us, and also to understand who we are on this planet and why we came and how we can have a wonderful life. I don't know if you had a chance to watch Dr. Pillai on YouTube. He was speaking today about Ganesha Chaturthi, which is the great celebration of Ganesha that happens every year in September. Usually it's September, sometimes at the end of August. And he has made incredible revelations. And if you missed that, I recommend going to Pillai Center YouTube and checking that amazing video and revelations about what's happening on the earth plane and why it's a wonderful time for spiritual people like us, and how we can begin to manifest just by remembering who we are and just realizing that we already have everything we are seeking, whether it's spiritual, material, the 200% life that Babaji, Dr. Pillai, always talks about. So again, I feel very honored to be here and share some great news about special power times in September and coming up. And also I will give you a little astrological update because a lot is happening in September, and these are good transits that you can use to your benefit in your finances, in your career, if you want to change job, if you want to start something new. You have a lot of opportunities. So again, this is a wonderful new beginning for everybody. And so I just say, let's start with the power times. So as you know, every month we update you on the wealth power times with a forecast. And we will explain the moon phases, why they are important, how they work, the stars that the moon crosses, and also other planets, and the planets that can help you either build or increase your wealth and experience all around abundance. So the time Shaktis will be between September 1st and September 30th. So let's talk a little bit about the waning phase of the moon. I'll always like to start with clarifying one of the biggest misunderstandings I've seen out there since I began studying Vedic astrology. So one of the first things you learn in Vedic astrology is the special energies that come to us through the moon, and how we ourselves experience these energies in the body, mind, and how we think and we speak during these lunar phases, and how we can use them to manifest what we like. So the waning phase is a time for letting go. That doesn't mean you have to stop living. You can still try and put all your efforts or put your intention out there that you can manifest anything, anytime. However, in the waning phase, you don't have that much support. The mind becomes a little subdued because the lunar phases become darker. As you know, the moon attracts, or rather reflects, the light of the sun. It doesn't have a light of its own. So depending on the light of the sun, the amounts of light, the light being intelligence, prosperity, the soul, also the soul, the sun represents the soul. So this is all reflected by the moon in a softer, nurturing, watery way, as the moon does. So what happens on the new moon, for example, that is the only day when you don't want to try to manifest, because you don't have the lunar support in the mind. And the mind, again, is very quiet. So it's a wonderful time for meditation. So I don't recommend, oh my goodness, we have something happening. Radha, everything okay? Okay, good. Thank you, Radha. And so we have the support for meditation, enlightenment, and even for pacifying our ancestors. And we'll see when that happens and when it's the best time. So we will talk about that later. But now let's talk about this very special time, Shakti, very special time for Ganesha, because we just came from a beautiful webinar with Dr. Pillai explaining who Ganesha is and how he can help us completely change our lives by removing all the obstacles. So I don't know if you're familiar with Ganesha, if you've been here, I'm sure you are, but still, if I talk about myself, I live with Ganesha. Ganesha is in every room, in my house. Is it an obsession? No, it's a deep devotion, because I've had so many miracles with Ganesha for myself, my family, my children. It's been wonderful, absolutely wonderful. And Ganesha, so I've always had this special connection with Ganesha. He came to me one day when I was the typical Westerner. Yes, I went to church sometimes. I did have a good relationship with the divine through my yogic studies, but not really like now. And so Ganesha came to me in miraculous ways, and I didn't even know him very well. So I had heard of him in India, but not really. And so that was 2001 when he came to me. And so long story short, now I'm always asking Ganesha first when I begin something, and that's what I'm recommending. So I invite you to connect with Ganesha because he's alive. So when you put statues, when you see reminders of this divine being, you can visualize him as an angel who wants to help you, who is always protecting you. However, because of our free will, he doesn't have the right to interfere. That's a biggie in the heavenly realms. Unless we ask, even God cannot make you change your mind, cannot make you do something, which is infinite love, infinite acceptance, incredible freedom, because God even doesn't have the right and doesn't want to. He can do anything. He can turn you into anything you want, but at the same time, she doesn't interfere. Same with Ganesha. So we need to ask, how do we ask Ganesha? We chant Om Gam. Om Gam is the password to ask Ganesha. Yes, I ask you, I invite you, Ganesha, come in here, come in this house, come in this situation, and clear all the obstacles, especially future obstacles, because we're all in fear of the future, right? We all imagine, we have a very negative mind sometimes, especially when things don't go according to our plans. We go into heartbreak, into frustration, and we start imagining a terrible future. But we have to be careful, because nowadays with the energies on the earth plane, we risk manifesting whatever we think. So we don't want to do that anymore. And we need to be very positive and knowing that everything has already happened according to our desires, according to our dreams. Dr. Pillai always says, if you can conceive it, you can manifest it. So I say the same because it's been my experience. When I couldn't manifest something, I put pictures around, I made them up in my mind, I put them on my desktop. So Ganesha can come and remove that clutter from the mind, from the environment, from other people who are knowingly or unknowingly causing you obstacles, problems, and delays. So Ganesha is the being who very quickly arrives. And so all you have to do is really believe that he exists. First of all, that would be helpful. And even if you don't believe, I think that even just saying the sounds Om Gam, something happens to our minds, to our brain, that we activate intelligence centers. So an example that I like to talk about, because it's simple and practical, a small miracle, but to me it was significant at the time. So it's not too personal. I was on a highway. The highway was all jammed. Okay, and it would have taken me hours to get home. And it was nighttime, so that's even more impactful. and it was maybe 2 a.m. And so with this jam, according to the radio and everything, I would have reached New York at 5 a.m. or even later. So I started praying. I would not accept that. I said, no, I can't accept that. I accept it. So I started in the car. I started chanting to Ganesha the miracle mantra, which is a very long mantra, which includes also Om Gam. So Om Gam is a seed. You can say Om Gam, or you can say a very long mantra. Ganesha will come anyway. He will respond. So after chanting this mantra, after a few minutes, I noticed a big truck going from this highway, exiting on the highway in the middle of nowhere. There were no gas stations, no shopping center. So I knew this truck with the license in New York. I knew the driver must have known some, but that's something Ganesha told me, that I understood thanks to Ganesha that driver was exiting because he must have known a parallel road or some alternative route to get home faster. And because I think drivers, I thought all the right thoughts, because thanks to Ganesha, I didn't start complaining. I didn't start expecting the worst. I thought, oh, the guy is a driver. He drives trucks, right? So he knows all the roads very well. They're the best. So I'm sure that he knows an alternative route. So I followed him. I exited with him instead of staying on the highway for 5 hours or even longer. We don't know. It was a huge accident. So I followed the truck. Then soon I started seeing other cars with license in New York. And then my children were in the back of the car. They checked on their phones and they said, yes, Mom, Google Map is showing this is a parallel road to the highway. And so we got home super fast and even sooner than we originally expected. And it was amazing because we solved a huge problem. So you will think better thoughts for sure after chanting to Ganesha, and just miracles will happen. What are miracles? I would call them scientific events that we cannot explain with our knowledge, current knowledge, but our intuition, which comes through Ganesha, through removing the obstacles in the mind, can solve any problem. Nothing is impossible if we are in the right frame of mind, if we receive the right thoughts, the right guidance, and we will even attract the people who don't even know us, who want to help, right? As in the case of that driver, he didn't even know I existed, but he was very helpful in taking us home fast, like in 1.5 hours instead of 5 or 6 hours of delay. So that's an example I love to remind myself and also other people, like students or family or friends like you, that we don't need to feel defeated, that we don't need to feel frustrated, and that we always have divine solutions, spiritual solutions. I find them to be the best. Next, please. Okay, so this is one favorite of mine. I love Krishna. Krishna is very simple in a way because he's all about love, but he's very sophisticated if you think about it. He was the epitome of love, joy, dance, enjoyment of the earth plane, nature, flowers, forests, rivers, and pure love, pure enjoyment, and also super intelligent, a king, incredibly benevolent, incredibly righteous, always helping those who are suffering, those who are righteous, the righteous people. He only loves simple, righteous people. He doesn't like people who are proud, arrogant, those who feel so cool or they feel they know everything. He helps, normal people like us. And he wants to remove our negativity, which comes from Kali Yuga. So we are at the end of Kali Yuga, as Dr. Pillai explained today and always. Now is the time for the spiritual people. So Krishna is the divine being, or call him a sage. I believe he was divine. that he will return at this time. And he said, I'm leaving because it's starting, Kali Yuga is starting, so I'm taking off, I'm leaving. Kind of like what Jesus did. He left. He allowed others to take him out. So, but Krishna decided to leave, and he said, that was about 5,000 years ago. He said, I'm leaving because now time of darkness is coming to the earth plane, but I will return when evil has reached its maximum. And I think we can safely say this is it. He's coming now, the beginning of Satya Yuga, when light is returned on the earth plane, when there's more intelligence, our brain will function differently, as Dr. Pillai said today. That was so inspirational. Our minds will work better. Gravity will be lighter. And so life on earth will not be so dense. The energy will not be so dense. And people like you, Dr. Pillai's students, followers, can relate to this because we understand the energy, and we have been going by energy, intuition, and love for the divine for a long time, or at least love for the earth plane, love for our fellow beings, fellow human beings, but also all forms of life, and also incredible love for nature, love for the heavenly realms, and an inborn understanding that there's more, that there's something higher, that we're not just flesh and blood. So people like us can benefit more from praying to Krishna on September 6th. That's his birthday. On the birthday of the archetypes and divine beings, there is an opening, a portal for you to connect. They're more available. Well, I believe one of the reasons is because over 1 billion people will be thinking about Krishna. Think about it. In India, there are 1 billion people, right? And he's very popular all around the world. So over 1 billion people concentrating their attention and love on Krishna and the chants, beautiful prayers, etc. So imagine the miracles that can happen on that day when you ride this wave of energy, of love, of inspiration, incredible joy. So you can chant Hari Bol. Hari Bol, Hari is Vishnu and Krishna also, because he's an incarnation of the archetype Vishnu. As a reminder, he's the husband of Goddess Lakshmi, the consort. And so by chanting Hari, Hari is a very powerful mantra. Bol means, in Hindi and Sanskrit, Bol means recite, call Hari, say Hari Bol, say, but I think there's also another meaning, but I'm not Hare Krishna, I don't belong to any tradition like that, so I don't remember. It's something I knew, I forgot. But just you have to say Hari Bol or Hari. Also Hari, when you say Hari, Vishnu comes and Krishna is happy. So Hari Bol is the special mantra. You can also say Hari Bol, Radhe Bol. I like the complete mantra because you invoke both the masculine aspect and the feminine aspect of the divine. So Krishna being the masculine and Radha being the feminine. So Hari Bol, Radhe Bol, and you can say that 108 times, so for maybe half hour. You can dance. And when we dance with the intentions of connecting with the divine, we have a lot of power. So our frequencies are higher, our vibrations are faster and higher, and we become more intelligent. There's no doubt the heart is super intelligent because we are opening the heart chakra, because we are joyful, we're not negative. So I've tried that. Sometimes I forget, but you can dance, right, to this beautiful mantra. You can find it on YouTube, or maybe you have your own track. So remember to ask for miracles, visualize your dreams. Always visualize your dreams. That's my philosophy. You can never do wrong by visualizing what you want. Of course, provided that it doesn't hurt anybody. directly. Okay, so don't worry. Just go for your dreams, chant, trust the divine, go for the 200% life. Okay, next, please. Okay, so we're getting close to that time of the month. The sun is right now in Leo, and it shines brightly in Leo. That's its own sign. And Leo is what? Is a sign of power. It is a sign of self-confidence. It's the sign that represents politics. Unfortunately, that can not be very inspirational sometimes, but a leader, somebody, ideally a righteous person who can guide others and is ready to sacrifice himself or herself. So that's the higher sun. The sun is the soul. The sun doesn't care about bringing, all this wealth to one individual, and so he's bejeweled. He has a gold crown, but there's nothing wrong with crowns and jewelry and wealth. Actually, we're supposed to be totally divine and capable of having everything we like. But the sun is about sacrificing yourself for the good of everyone, like the archetype and aspect of Vishnu called Rama. He was the ideal king. Okay, so this is a great time when you can ask Vishnu for wealth on the 11th moon, but the sun itself is the celestial body that represented Rama. Rama was the ideal in everything, self-sacrificing, but also wealthy, handsome, with a beautiful wife, Sita. They were totally in service to their people and honoring the parents, honoring everyone in their family, honoring all kinds of people, poor, wealthy, didn't matter to them, and destroying evil. So they were very much into righteousness and purity. So this is a time when I love to connect with Rama when I think of the sun, because right now in Leo or in Aries, those are the best places for, or Sagittarius are the best placements for the sun. They are fire signs, they are the 3 fire signs, and the sun can give the best of itself. So courage, a new career, wealth, royalty consciousness, everything you like, but soul evolution also, super intelligence. Without super intelligence that destroys ignorance, it's difficult to have also the material things because you have to figure out so many things. So you need intelligence for that too. Okay, I'm not saying that the richest people are the most intelligent. Please don't think that. I think that's a question of karmic imprint and also where we focus the most. That's why spiritual people sometimes forget to pray for money because their focus is on other things. But we need to figure out also to be self-sufficient, or at least to trust the divine to give us everything. So pray to Vishnu always, but especially on the 11th moon. There are 2 days of the 11th moon. One is September 9th and September 24th. And I was going to say that the sun is going to Virgo. Virgo is a sign ruled by Mercury. And the sun is not in the best placement, but it can do a lot of good because Virgo is the sign of good health. So discipline in diet. Also, it's a sign very cautious with finances and being cautious with all the numbers to make sure they add up. Is a creative sign, is a gentle sign. So it can benefit you in many ways. Most of all, Virgo is humble, is gentle. It will not be a very fiery sun like the one now that boosts the ego, there's no doubt. When the ego is too strong, it forgets the real self, the higher self, because the ego gets inflated very easily out of fear, out of limitations. And or worse, right? At least a big ego who thinks it can have everything, at least manifests things, but an ego that brings self-bashing, lack of self-esteem, lack of self-respect. That is the worst ego. There's no doubt. So the sun can always help you connect to the higher self and remind you that you're divine. You're the soul. The soul is perfect. Of course, it's not as pure as the divine, ultimate divine soul, the divine, but we're learning. So we are an expression of that. Okay, so the sun, I believe, will move on the 17th of, let me double check this. The 17th of September will move into Virgo. But right now, I invite you to use the best time for your career and creative projects, which is the sun in Leo. Whether you have a good relationship with the sun astrologically or not, it doesn't matter, because it's a very powerful time for new beginnings and new projects for you. So start the new career you've been dreaming about, or start a new project. Contact people who are like-minded, who can help you. Just trust that the divine wants you to succeed and have everything you want. So the sun in Leo can help you with that. It's also performance arts. So performance artists, actors, theater actors, also musicians to a certain extent, because the fifth house is very creative, and Leo is the natural fifth house. Okay. So let's go back to the slides, please. Let's go to the next. All right, 13th moon. Do we need to say again that removing bad karma is important? I think we all know this by now, right? So what's the difference between us and Elon Musk? It's karma. What's karma? The way we think. Do we think like Elon Musk when we wake up in the morning? And I'm not telling you we should be like Elon Musk. Okay, please don't think. Please understand that I have higher priorities and I'm not trying to imitate anyone. So I respect wealth. It comes from the divine. God is not poor. So we need to remove the bad karma that brings us low self-esteem, limitations in all aspects of life, limited thinking, bad relationships. How many people are suffering in relationships? I would say the great majority of humanity hasn't figured out how to get along, how to live in harmony, enjoy, and make love last. So we need to learn that too. But karma clearing is the way, and that always works. So you will think differently. I'll give you an example. You're having a huge problem. It suddenly happened. Somebody called you and told you something that's really upsetting you. So you go and cut 18 lines, okay? So you go and do your production. All of a sudden, your thoughts change. It will not sting as much. You will not care even. Okay, I've had an episode. I don't want to go too deep into this, but somebody gave me what seemed very much like an evil eye, because in the presence of that person, I was being very, very antagonistic, very rude, very dismissive of me. I became very flustered. I was feeling dizzy. I began having nausea. I forgot what I was doing. And also, it's like a mini evil eye. I had to go and pray, do something for that. So cutting lines is a huge way to protect yourself from psychic attacks. People are full of negativity sometimes. You cannot control that, but you may be in the way and they'll attack you. There are people who feel that they've reached no success after 10, 15 years of work, and they're frustrated. They will hurt someone that they perceive is doing better than they are. And they don't even know that. And if they know, they're being malevolent, and maybe they'll have to deal with it. But it doesn't matter who it is and what's happening. Go and cut those lines. Okay, by the way, I have a lot of divine, wonderful people around me who support me, who help me, and I'm very blessed. But I'm saying, if somebody sometimes upsets you, that is not supporting you, and actually they're causing you troubles just for the heck of it, just for the pleasure of hurting someone, or just because they want to make somebody else suffer, that's not your problem. Your problem is only if you forget to cut those lines. Okay, so recite Brzee at the throat. So this one technique is even more powerful. It's the sound of pure wealth that comes from God. God's money is always more powerful. Goddess Lakshmi gives you pure money that has no karma, because money has karma. So Dr. Pillai has always said that karma is in our cells, in our minds, in our genes, from ancestors who have thought lots of negative thoughts about money or relationships or any health even, right? So those thoughts are still with you in your genes. When we remove the karma, we also remove that problem coming from the genes, coming from the mind, from repetitive thoughts we have had for lifetimes. And so Brzee, the pure sound of wealth, if you concentrate it on the throat, will remove a lot of karma. And you will be changed. The negative thoughts will disappear. But also you can use limes, the surrogate spiritual techniques to remove, release karma. So if you've been following Dr. Pillai for some time and also heard Pillai Center teachers, we've been talking about this for a long time. So take a lime, roll it, and say Tirunila Kantam. Tirunila Kantam is a mantra that removes karma. Tirunila Kantam. If you don't remember, I believe even just rolling these limes and cutting them helps. But it's ideally you want to say Tirunila Kantam. You can Google it. You'll find a lot of videos on YouTube. And so do that technique. And also just remember to visualize blue light in the throat. That's a good spiritual technique. The blue light represents Shiva's sacrifice. Look, all these divine beings have made huge sacrifices for us. For example, Rama had to suffer a lot. As an incarnation of Vishnu, he sacrificed himself and suffered almost during the entire life. His life was very difficult, and he sacrificed himself to destroy demons. So to remove the karma of people, right? All these demons were harming humanity. And we know that Jesus did the same. He destroyed his own body to be able to remove our karma. So that's another sacrifice. In the beginning, at the time of the churning of the Milky Ocean, which is probably a symbol for our Milky Way galaxy. So at the beginning of creation, there was all this poison coming out of the Milky Ocean, and Shiva decided to drink it. When he took that poison, he saved humanity. And then by drinking the poison, his throat became blue. And then it's a long story. His wife helped him to stop the poison from killing him. He's eternal. He didn't die, but he has a blue throat to remind us of that sacrifice. So when we invoke him and visualize blue light in the throat, we are reenacting that sacrifice and actually removing bad karma in ourselves. So we're very lucky to have these techniques. And also when you cut the limes, you can always say, I'm cutting this line to get rid of this bad money karma, or to remove this bad relationship karma, and to get along with these people, or remove my bad wealth karma, my bad money karma, to get, I don't know, I just say your dream, whatever it is, right? Your country home, your new car, your trip to India, right? We're all thinking about India now that we want to go to India. So why not? We have these divine technologies and we're supposed to use them. If you forget everything, Brzee in the throat will do it 108 times. If you have time, 1008. You can buy one of those counters on Amazon. They're $5 and they work. Next, please. Now we come to the new moon, my favorite topic. Why is it my favorite? Because we need to let people know you cannot manifest on the new moon. It's like a mini eclipse for the moon. The moon is completely blocked. There's no light. That's when the earth comes between the sun and the moon. So the moon is dark. There's no light in the sky. How can you manifest, right? So that is the time when all the ancestors come. The veils are thinner. And so the spirits come to the earth plane, or they're more visible to you. And maybe you will hear their thoughts from your ancestors, and you'll say something that your grandma used to say all the time that you usually wouldn't think about. Okay, so just do the Tarpanam, do the offering, your mix, everybody knows. Go and Google it. The Mohini has made wonderful videos over the years on how to appease, how to heal our ancestors. Then your ancestors will be your best friends. They will be around and giving you thoughts of wealth. They will solve a problem for you. Maybe they'll put an idea in the mind of someone who needs to help you. So things will start going well for you. Okay, so use the new moon. Forget what you read everywhere on social media. And now, for some absurd reason, even TV stations, even mainstream media love to talk about astrology, all in the wrong way. I'm sorry to say. They tell you, hey, this is new moon, take out your crystals, now you can manifest. No, that's not the time you want to take out your crystals. I don't know what that means anyway. So crystals are devices for memory, right? That's why they're in computers, watches, etc. So I don't know, are you trying to attract more spirits in your life? Maybe that will work. So use the new moon for meditation, helping your ancestors, meditate, pray, get rid of something around that you don't need anymore, that's blocking your vision, your happiness, and even your clarity, because clarity in the mind is everything. Babaji, Dr. Pillai says, if you ask the right questions, you have solved all your problems. Even just knowing how to ask questions is enough sometimes. And if we have lack of clarity, we cannot ask good questions. All right, so next, please. Now we are in the power time of the moon, when the moon becomes brighter, more powerful. Each lunar phase has an energy, a divine being behind it. So it's so important to observe these lunar phases. Very, very important. A little tip, don't use the 9th moon, especially waning moon, but 9th moon is a no-no. Don't use the 4th moon. The 4th moon is only for Ganesha because it's not auspicious. Don't use the new moon for manifesting wealth. Use the full moon. Use the 11th moon. Use the 10th moon. Use the 5th moon. So remember, after the new moon, the new moon is so totally dark, right? They call it new, but that doesn't mean it's a power time for wealth. But actually, by appeasing your ancestors, you can still get wealth, but that's later on. But to manifest, so you wait for the moon to get a little brighter. The 2nd moon has some energy of wealth. The 3rd moon has a lot of energy of wealth. It's called Tritiya. Akshaya Tritiya, for example, is a day of wealth and gold. You probably know that. And then the 4th moon is not good. And then the 5th moon is dedicated to goddess Lalita Tripura Sundari. So I will never forget that, obviously, because Dr. Pillai gave me the name Lalita in 2013 or 2012. And then Varahi also rules the 5th waxy moon. So pray to Varahi, pray to Lalita, pray to goddess Lakshmi. Those are wonderful days for the goddess. You can connect with the divine feminine on the 5th moon. So don't forget the 5th moon. The 7th moon is, 6th moon is wonderful for Muruga. The 7th moon is ruled by the sun and the sages. So it's a wonderful time for creating an altar, to ask Muruga for help in finances, in your karma. He removes karma. And then the 8th moon is not so great. It's a long story. Let's move on. The 9th moon is not good. The 10th moon becomes very positive for your career, work, etc. It's ruled by Jupiter. And then, of course, the divine beings behind the planets are also helping you on those days. So remember, if it's the 10th moon of Jupiter, then Shiva is also helping you, right? Makes sense? And in some traditions, Vishnu, but I believe Shiva for that. And then the 11th moon of Vishnu is in your home. All you have to say is Vishnu, 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 and you have already contacted Vishnu. But you can also say his mantra, his complete mantra, which is Om Namo Narayanaya. And now you have even more access to his wealth giving energy. So it's all about energy, it's all about frequencies, it's all about light, it's all about vibrations. And that's pretty much what quantum physics says, right? Although other theories, actually quantum physics, we cannot call it a theory anymore, because Dr. Pillai reminded us that in last year, 3 quantum physicists received the Nobel Prize for quantum physics, and they proved that the universe doesn't exist. So guess who is creating this universe, right? Who is creating the universe? You are, every second, with your thoughts. So we have to watch those thoughts. So Shreem Brzee is the best thought to remove all the negativity, whether it's ancestral, it's personal, it's misunderstandings we have about money and how to get it. Shreem Brzee is the way. So just chant it daily. You can put a reminder on your phone every hour. I have all my, okay, I confess I should be doing this more often. Sometimes I get busy and I forget to do this. So I have all the hours, like 5:30, 6:30, 7:30, 8:30 a.m., etc. And then in PM, I have 1:30, 2:30, 3:30, 4:30. So someday I turn them all on when I want to remind myself every hour to do something, whether it's a mantra or an attitude or watching my thoughts. This is something we need to do. Why? The mind runs super fast and it's full of negativity. Otherwise, we're lost in the ocean of consensus reality and we're stuck. I have always been allergic to the consensus reality because I always observed those who were doing better in everything. In school, I always observed like my schoolmates who were the best. They studied more, but more inspirational for me were people who spoke such beautiful words. They were so positive. They were always happy. They were so full of joy. Or some people who loved the divine, who loved the nature, were doing something extraordinary. My focus was always on those kind of people. I always wanted to be like them. Now I realize, now that they're gone, that my parents themselves were geniuses. My mother was a famous journalist, one of the top for culture and inspirational thinking. And also my stepdad was a very celebrated writer, philosopher, etc. So I was used to the highest thoughts, but then I realized there's much better even after. In India, I found even better than that. And even my mother said that to me. She said, it's very admirable what you're studying, and your spiritual teacher is a very noble, pure being. And she realized that there was a different level of thinking. That I was very touched when my mom told me that, because she was a pure intellectual, and but a very positive, sometimes very inspirational person. Okay, so why am I telling you all this? It all depends on you, your effort, where you put your focus. But because we cannot be perfect, nothing is perfect, we can just go to Shreem Brzee. The goddess is full of perfect love, perfect beauty, perfect wisdom. And there's no negativity at all in Goddess Lakshmi. And she's very gentle, very loving, and very beautiful. She brings you everything you want. And the only reason we don't receive it is because we don't ask, or we forget, or we don't chant, and we get distracted by our own thoughts, the events, the limitations we see everywhere. So let's create a better world for ourselves and others. Just we have to all collectively chant the Shreem Brzee, and it's never too much. Here it says 108 times. I would say 1008 is better. And I love these counters. I don't have it here with me, but they're so easy to use. And it goes very fast. I think once I chanted 1008 in 20 minutes, you can go fast. Or a more relaxing way for me is just to sit for about an hour. Okay, I love that during the full moon. On other days, it's a little more difficult, but the energy of the full moon will be inspirational for you. And we will see that next. Thank you. Now we have Ganesha's Chaturthi. Yay. This is my favorite holiday. I've been in India many times during Ganesha's Chaturthi, and it's magnificent. There's Ganesha everywhere. And that's what I'm trying to reproduce at home by keeping little statues, small, large, small. This one is enough in your pocket. Or a picture. There is neuroscience that supports this. Looking at Ganesha will make you smarter, will make you more intelligent. There's the book that Dr. Pillai always quotes. It's wonderful how God changes your brain. These are two American scientists who are telling you this. They are Jewish. They didn't have any agenda. They said looking at Ganesha immediately makes you compassionate, more intelligent, more empathic, kinder, more relatable. Going into a meeting after looking at pictures of the divine beings will give you a different kind of meeting. People will resonate with what you say because you come from a different place, and you come from a place of love, inspiration, a place of wisdom, not a little agenda just for ourselves that we get very confused and we do it all wrong. You have to see something higher to even want to receive what you want, right? It doesn't always come by I, me, mine. It usually comes from I, me, mine, and all of us. Comes from we are one. Those are the best thoughts. And these are the thoughts that are going to start working now. So the old ways are not going to work in this new energy, the Satya Yuga. It's when we think of the good of all that we get the most energy. And so you'll see wonderful changes just by connecting with Ganesha. Dr. Pillai is doing, I think Pillai Center is offering a program, the 16th, the 17th, and the 18th. And please go to YouTube, Pillai Center YouTube, to check the video with Dr. Pillai and also all the links, and also Lakshmi explained everything about that program, what you need to know. So definitely, even if you don't do that, to chant the Gam, Om Gam on that day, most of the day, ask for miracles. You receive a lot of miracles. I've always received miracles through Ganesha and other divine angelic beings. But Ganesha is really number one. So don't miss that. September 18th. Now we have Anur Star. Why is it so important? Both Maharishi Vishwamitra and Goddess Lakshmi were born on an Anurada star. Anurada star is in Scorpio. 1 second, please. I want to double check something before I tell you that. Double check the. Okay, so Anurada star brings you the energy of both Vishwamitra, who is the recipient. He's the being who received Brzee from God, and he gave it to us, Dr. Pillai, right? Excuse me. And then Goddess Lakshmi, Shreem Brzee, that's Goddess Lakshmi herself. So I'm going to excuse myself for a minute. Hopefully, will be edited. Okay, I'm back. And so don't forget Anur Star on September 20th. That's the day when you want to give yourself a wonderful space to connect with Goddess Lakshmi. Okay, when I talk too much, and I've been doing that a lot today, so my throat gets very sensitive. All right, so let's move to the next slide, please. Okay, so this is our time. Full moon time for Shreem Brzee is the best time, even more so than any other lunar phase, any other time. Why? Look at the moon. There's so much fullness. The full moon is called Purnima. Purnam means fullness. Fullness of everything you want. What do you have to think about the full moon? The time for everything you want, fullness, total abundance, right? So that's the time when you want to chant 1,008 times, and always try to be in a group, because you multiply the energy of your chanting. And I need to rest my throat a second. Okay. So chant, participate in the full moon Shreem Brzee immersion program. It's wonderful. Flower petal ceremony, fire ritual, those are available by two Pillai Center teachers, Sucharita and Goddess Swamini Valli. I believe all the Pillai Center teachers are goddesses, but anyway, I believe that we're all divine, whether a Pillai Center or outside Pillai Center. I just believe that by working to diffuse Dr. Pillai's teachings, we're very, very blessed, and we receive special blessings, maybe, we hope. Anyway, these are goddesses who have been practicing this for 30, 40 years. Just trust that just being with your group, with your community, and these amazing teachers, you will be infinitely blessed. And just participate or do your own thing, right? At least get a counter on Amazon and recite it 1,008 times. You will not be the same person. What you thought was impossible will seem very easy, and the ideas will come, or it just will happen for you. It doesn't need to. You don't need to know how, it will just happen. Okay, let's next. Let's see the next. These are the Friday power times. They are so important. Venus is a planet of pure enjoyment, a planet of wealth, more than all the other planets. I would say that Venus, Jupiter, and Sun are, no, Mercury also, give you a lot of wealth. But Venus is the Karaka of wealth. Okay, it's wealth, beauty, luxury, everything that makes life pleasant, joyful, incredible artistic gifts, beautiful artwork, elegance, beautiful clothes, everything that you want, flowers, gardens, homes, everything you like, or traveling. So Venus also represents air travel. So if you want a vacation or go into India, that's all available when you pray on Fridays. You don't need to know the mantra for Venus, but that's also available. But you can chant Shreem Brzee 1,008 times on a Friday. It has a huge impact on your mindset, on your life, on your finances. September 1st, 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th. So you can do a hydration ceremony. I don't have Goddess Lakshmi here. I have a lot of statues for her. I have Varahi here. You can pour milk, you can pour water first, and then milk. If you have water and turmeric, that's ideal, and then you can pour water. So again, you take the statue of Goddess, might as well go and get that. So 1 second. I have a big altar in front of me, so I could get this. This is one of the statues of Goddess Lakshmi. It's not the latest, but it's one of them. I have others that are more recent that Dr. Pillai wants us to have, like the one with the serpent, right? That reminds of both Lord Vishnu, the Kundalini, the rises. So it's all wonderful, but you can pour some water. So imagine this is the clean water. You pour it, then you pour a little milk. Then if you have the water mixed with turmeric, you can pour that too. Then more water, then you pat it dry with something clean, with a cloth or a soft paper napkin you can use. And then you can offer flowers. So she will look different. Trust me, the statues take on a whole new energy. You can see it. It's not just the sheen from or the shining look from the water. It's just like I feel the energy. So do this, offer a flower, a little sweet, and now you have a direct connection with the goddess. Do that on the full moon. Do this also on the 1st, 8th, 15th, etc. every Friday, and you'll have a relationship with the goddess, right? She'll be in your life. Otherwise, she's out there. We can't relate, unfortunately. It's very hard to relate to the divine when we are in this flesh and blood vehicle. But I believe there's no separation, excuse me. There's no separation between the spiritual, the physical. This is what the experience we have chosen to come here to experience ourselves as divine beings in a body. It's a blessing, it's a privilege, and we shouldn't dismiss it, but that's not who we are. We're not the body, we're not the mind. We are so much more. So by having a relationship with Goddess Lakshmi or another divine being, you remember that and you live it. Live it as if, pretend you're Goddess Lakshmi for a couple of days and see what happens. Okay, next, please. Okay, this is very important. Write down your goals. You cannot do this too much because we forget. And I've mentioned this before, but there's a Harvard study or Yale. They made an experiment. Yes, Harvard. So all the graduates, Yale, Harvard graduates who wrote down their goals made, and they were 3%, they made more money than the 97% remaining. So they all went to the same schools, they all got the same degrees, but the 3% that wrote down regularly their goals, they made more money than all the others. It's amazing how a simple thing like that. So remember to write it down. It works. I have it I have reminders everywhere. I have post-its, or sometimes I give myself, I have a text iPhone messages, or I have another way here on the desktop that I have iMessages. So I write it there. That's the first thing I see in the morning after I pray or whatever I do in the morning. I look at those messages or send myself an email, write it down. The best is to use your hand because you're creating with your hands. And in the body, we need to see that. All right, so try and you love it. And so 3 goals is always wonderful because 1 would be ideal, but we have needs, right? So 3 maximum. Don't get dispersed because otherwise your focus is diluted. So focus very, very intensely on 1 or 2 things, 3 the most, and just wait for miracles. Just expect them even. They have already happened. That's what Dr. Pillai said today. Your dreams, they've already happened. Visualize them as such. Okay, you already have that. How do I feel now that I have this one thing, right? How do you feel when you go to Rameshwaram and you can do all that karma removal? It can change your life. How do you feel as you're having it? You visualize it, it's happened already. So I'm saying that as a goal. I don't know what your goals are, but I can imagine they are material, wealth, then relationship and health. So just write it down and enjoy the results. Next, please. Okay, a few reminders. You know that you have Shreem Brzee YouTube free events, and also Facebook. There's chanting, removing obstacles to prosperity, a success webinar. Don't miss that, is important. So I don't see them at 11 a.m., right? 11 a.m., it doesn't say the day though. I suppose it's Friday. I haven't had a chance to attend that yet. I think it's Friday because it says Friday, Shreem Brzee, but I need confirmation. So please look below this video. You should be able to find all the links you need, and stay connected on Pillai Center Facebook, Pillai Center Instagram. It's amazing. They have always the updates there. Even when I forget, I see them on Instagram or I see them on Facebook. I'm like you, I get busy and sometimes I need reminders, right? I don't have it all together, nobody can. So there are so many channels like Religion of Religions. Then we have Pillai Center YouTube, Pillai Center Practice YouTube. There's a lot of help out there. Just look for all these events. They're divine gifts, I believe. Dr. Pillai is giving us all of this. So I think sometimes we underestimate because we get so much. We're a little spoiled children, maybe sometimes. So go and put your attention on that. It will create a whole new life for you. All right, I think this is the last slide. No, there's one more. Full moon immersion. This is a very important thing we were talking about before. It's a 2-hour program. It happens every month on the full moon day, and you will receive reminders once you sign up. And you find also a link to sign up. The puja, in the puja, Sucharita offers 108 flower petals to Goddess Lakshmi, and sometimes even some beautiful gold coins. And then, there'll be mantras. It's very inspirational. And then there is a full moon fire lab. And Swamini Bali is a great goddess for that. She channels the divine so well. And she will do a fire lab. And when you sign up, your name also will go in the fire lab. It's very special. So fire is the best way to reach to the gods and offer your prayers, right? The sun is fire too. But the fire itself rises, right? Agni, the divine being of the sacred fire, rises to the heavens. That signifies the vehicle for your prayers. You're sending an email to God, or you're making a phone call directly. All right, that's all for today. And I'd love to hear your comments or questions, if you have any. So ideally should be about this. Oh, Jupiter is going retrograde on September 4th until December 1st. So that's a biggie. When Jupiter and Saturn retrograde, they're slow planets, so they make an impact. I think it's going to be primarily positive. Things from the past may reappear for you to do them better. New teachings or old teachings you need to integrate more wealth, etc. Radha says no questions so far. So Jupiter retrograde may bring issues with your children that you want to look into to get a better relationship with your children or help them more in their studies. Also, you can find new ways of acquiring wealth. Right now, Jupiter, which is also what we call a Karaka for wealth, so means a representative of wealth among the planets. And it's in Aries. Aries is the first house, natural house of self, of wealth, of path in life. And so Aries has that energy of doing things, of having the courage to look into things and taking action. That's why Aries people like to always to do something. They usually can complete their projects because they're so motivated by action and they are not theoretical at all. So that's why sometimes they make good leaders. Why am I telling you this? Because Jupiter is in Aries and will be there until May 2024. So this energy of fiery action is very helpful to get things done, to manifest. Okay, there's a question. Let's see. Daryl says, if we give food to our ancestors, how long do we leave it on the altar? Oh, I personally don't do that, but maybe you're following some different teaching, or maybe I missed that, I don't know. So I don't offer food to my ancestors on the altar. I don't remember if Dr. Pillai has ever said that, actually. I know that when you offer the food to your ancestors, it's always like some rice with some black sesame seeds. And maybe, I know in other cultures they do that. They do offer food to the ancestors, but I cannot comment because I'm not familiar with those rituals. What we do in this system, which is Dr. Pillai's system, which is actually a long tradition of siddhas and yogis who have revealed a scientific method to connect with your ancestors. So they come, they eat the food, and also they use this energy to heal themselves. Sometimes they get stuck in their evolution. They stay on the earth plane, which is a materialistic planet. And so they need to evolve and go to the light. And so offering is like a sacrifice, like sacrificing that sort of food so they can get the energy to evolve and leave the earth plane, reach into higher realms of light, and where they are happier, they're evolved. They forget their karma, they forget what happened during their lifetimes, and they can be happy and they can help you because they heal, your genetics will heal. They will come literally in spirit and send you a dream or maybe a new thought instead of troubling you with their problems, right? They have problems too. Okay, so that's the way I personally do it. I'm sorry, Daryl, if this is not the same. So Daniel has a question about using Tirunila Kantam versus Shreem Brzee. Oh, I don't want to cause it separation. There's no separation. So the mantra revealed for karma removal is always Brzee in this program. So remember, this is a Shreem Brzee Powertimes. So always use Brzee first in the throat. You can also visualize blue light, but you don't have to. Just focus on the throat and chant Brzee in your throat. Visualize back karma leaving you. Okay, so that helps a lot if you do that. Additionally, there are some other methods we use for karma removal. And one is the mantra Tirunila Kantama in the throat, which acts like Brzee, but it's through the blessings of Lord Shiva. So it's not per se the Shreem Brzee program I'm talking about. I'm talking about additional teachings from Dr. Pillai, which we have been practicing for decades. At least I personally have been practicing for at least 15 years. So I recommend those, they work. I notice the changes, right? So the blue throat. You can visualize Shiva's blue throat or better light in your own throat, blue light. So, the blue light also is used for sterilizing objects and purifying things, right? So perhaps that's one of the ways that makes sense for you to visualize the blue light in the throat with Tirunila Kantam. And we're remembering Shiva's sacrifice, but that has nothing to do with Shreem Brzee. Although I know as a Vedic astrologer that there's not so much separation. It's not a religion. We don't separate Vishnu from Shiva, from Lakshmi, from goddess Varahi, they're all one, right? They're divine beings. They're also evolving always, and they're very benevolent, and they want to help us, but they don't fight with each other, at least not in a serious way. They love each other. They worship each other. In the Ramayana, goddess Sarasvati cries with tears of love for Rama, an incarnation of Vishnu. She's married to Brahma, right? In theory, it makes no sense. But because we think like humans, oh no, the husband will be jealous. No, there's no jealous. She's full of love and devotion for Rama. She cries. I'm talking about a more spiritual Ramayana version, which is called the Adhyatma. Atma means soul, the soul of Rama, so the great soul of Rama. So we're talking about Rama as Vishnu, right? So that's just an example that we don't need to separate. That's why I mentioned Shiva, but please don't get confused. According to these Powertimes, we always chant Brzee in the throat for karma removal. Additionally, if you wish, if that resonates, you can also do the Tirunila Kantama in the throat, visualize blue light. You can also cut lines, because you're sacrificing the lines. They become a representative of you, of your head, of your brain. Okay. Okay. Anybody else? Laura Lakshmi. Is it a good time to open a business these days? Okay, so when the Sun and Mercury are in Leo together, it's always a power time for career, some new enterprise. Yes, I would say if this is the time you want to start a business, if you want your startup, why not? It's a good time. Mercury is retrograde, Saturn is retrograde, Jupiter will soon go retrograde. But I wouldn't let that stop me. I would just go ahead and do it if I were you. Besides, you're right now, I would use these days from like now onwards. The full moon is on the 30th. So use these days because they're for building. The time for fullness is a time for building new things. So I would recommend doing that, yes. After the 30th, we begin the darker lunar phase. So that is not a time when I would recommend starting a new business. Try to use power times with a full moon or 11th waxy moon. So for building something new, I would recommend the waxy moon, the brighter half of the moon, right? And the sun is very strong right now. So definitely do it in the next few days will be great. If you cannot go out to full force, at least put the foundations, right? Make your website live. I don't know. It's not really a good place to give you business advice, but definitely put the foundations in these next few days. Good luck. Anybody else? And pray to Goddess Lakshmi, right? And Vishnu. So if you want a business, you have no other way, really. It's the best way to pray to Goddess Lakshmi and Lord Vishnu. You can also sign up for fire rituals. Pillai Center offers them to Goddess Shreem Brzee. Anybody else? Before we go, we're going to wrap up soon. Anybody else? Okay, no other questions. Okay, so wonderful being here with you. Please make a resolve, have a resolve to use these beautiful power times and stay open. Ganesha is coming. His Goddess Lakshmi is never gone anywhere. Remember to honor Ganesha. Try to sign up to what you can sign up. Hi, Samuel. Any question from you? So, okay, Samuel, side. I visualize my income target every day. Wonderful. Visualization is how you start everything. You need the idea, right? And an image of what it feels like. So definitely yes. And what would I do with this money? That's also wonderful. Sometimes the negative thought creeps in. Oh, yes, that's normal. And the others are judging me for wanting to make such a large sum. Okay, so don't worry about other people. Sometimes there'll be naysayers. Unfortunately, sometimes these naysayers are very close to you and you love these people. You know, they may be family members, they may be a spouse, a friend. They mean well. They think they're protecting us, right? Or maybe they're reenacting their own karmic problems. So you don't want to worry about that. Just think God is not poor and God wants me to have everything. In fact, Dr. Pillai says that God doesn't care if you ride a bike or if you ride in a Rolls Royce. So you have free will. There's nothing wrong. And also when you have more money, you can help more people. So why not? Who cares what other people say? I know it's easier said than done, but try not to care so much. That's what I mean. Good question, though. We have all of us need to hear that. As I grow older, I love it because I care less than I used to. I was born very sensitive, little glance from my mother, my grandma, or my stepfather. I would freeze. And then once you remember the self, the pure self, the divine, you have a wonderful teacher like Dr. Pillai, you become stronger and stronger. And you start channeling the divine beings. They'll talk through you. Other people will change their minds too. They will not tell you, maybe because they have an ego, they're proud, but you're changing lives. So go ahead and have the life you want, Samuel. And others may or may not follow, doesn't matter, right? It's not the point. You are here, your complete responsibility is to your consciousness. Our number one responsibility, our number one duty. So do your best to care a little less about other people, what they think. Especially because you're doing something wonderful. Oh, right? It's your life. Okay, enjoy. All right, wonderful being here today with you. I hope this helped to inspire you, to bring you new ideas on how to do things in an easier way. So you don't suffer so much and you don't have to live through those up and downs that are typical of the mind and human life. So we need to be more in touch with who we really are, the divine. So we struggle less, we have miracles, we receive the blessings. When we're worrying so much, I know it's easier said than done. We all have our lows when we see no light coming. But when we're calmer, we realize, what am I doing? I'm not even receiving the blessings in this state. I'm not realizing that I'm so blessed. So try to stay very positive. Utter positivity is the way. Let's stay together and chain together and do things together because we can support each other and we are more powerful. Thank you so much for joining live and see you soon, or in the recording. See you soon. Thank you so much, Radha.